this is the final part 3, the presentation portion. My goal is to reunite Loretta and Janet and work toward a stable living environment for the both of them, based on some assessments and diagnostics that I completed with Loretta. Basically, the areas that Loretta really struggles in right now, based on the HUDAS, is household maintenance and functioning that way, and then social functioning. She has a hard time with managing her social relationships and interacting with others. So in order to be reunited, Loretta is going to need to learn new parenting skills and become sober, so she's going to need a lot of support with this. First of all, I would recommend inpatient and detoxification substance use treatment for Loretta until she is able to kind of maintain a little bit of sobriety on her own, and then move to outpatient substance use therapy along with groups. She'll also need some one-on-one psychotherapy to deal with some of her symptoms of grief and bereavement from losing her husband, and work toward healthier ways to cope with her depression symptoms as well. Janet is going to need potentially school therapy or play therapy, whatever meets her the best where she's at right now, to deal with her depression symptoms and potential trauma, PTSD symptoms as well, from all the trauma that's been involved in the household since the loss of the husband. Hopefully we could even implement some supervised visits with Loretta and Janet, as far as maybe some family therapy between the two of them, how to interact in a healthy manner, how to communicate well and show love for each other. Especially at the orphanage, I think that Janet would really benefit from meeting with her mother more often than not. So I would anticipate that they would be in treatment until Loretta can create and exhibit maintenance of a really healthy household that is supporting and loving for the two of them, and is successful with this. Anywhere between 6 months to a year, I would assume that they would need together. Some strengths for Loretta are a history of stable functioning, potentially supportive family from her mother, and she does have some insight to her problems. With Janet, she may have some supportive family, depending on how a grandmother is and how we can help Loretta be more supportive as well. And then Janet also has been exhibiting some tendencies for visualization, for self-soothing, just with the treasure chest that's under her bed every night at the orphanage. Some emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual needs. As far as the emotional needs go, for both of them, they will need therapy, stable, supportive relationships, trust between the two of them, love, and to stop the abuse. The abuse needs to stop. As far as physical needs, they both need stable housing, consistent and adequate nutrition, stop the physical abuse again, regular doctor visits and follow-ups. For mental, they will both need therapy and to learn some new healthy coping skills. Spiritually, based on the little information that we got about Loretta's mother and her heritage, the Native American population is very family-oriented and very spiritual, so I think that encouraging Loretta to get back to her roots as far as some of her spiritual functioning goes, that she might be able to build a really supportive community spiritually to help her through that portion as well. So spiritual, then we would maybe want to get her reconnected with her mother and with some supports out in their community and their culture as well. Loretta's diagnosis are alcohol dependence, bereavement, and potential PTSD. My rationale for that is Loretta stated that she needs alcohol to function now, so she's really dependent on it. She needs it to feel normal. Her consumption of alcohol has increased to the point of using every day due to this, which indicates tolerance, withdrawal, and dependence for normalcy, like I stated earlier. Diagnosis for Janet are PTSD and potential childhood depression. My rationale for that is Janet's experiencing physical, emotional, and sexual abuse that could all lead to PTSD. She seems quiet and sad while at the orphanage and could be experiencing childhood depression. Treatment goal number 1 for Loretta would be substance use, learning ways to manage that, and becoming sober. Treatment goal number 2 is to learn effective parenting skills to manage as a single parent. That's mainly for Loretta as well. And then treatment goal number 3 will be for Loretta and Janet as far as addressing mental, emotional, and spiritual needs. My overall recommendations, as I stated earlier, would be inpatient substance use treatment for Loretta while Janet stays at the orphanage, supervised visits with Loretta and Janet during that time, just so that they can start reuniting as well. After Loretta discharges from inpatient, she would need daily substance use meetings and weekly outpatient psychotherapy along with groups, and then continue weekly play therapy with Janet. We would need to assist Loretta in accessing housing resources and parenting class resources, maybe through social services or the Department of Human Services as far as their housing programs, and then implement community networks through building support systems within their family and friends. Based on the HUDAS, Loretta really struggles in the areas of managing the household responsibilities and her social functioning, so I believe that the parenting classes will really help with learning how to manage as a single parent now and manage her own household, take care of her household responsibilities, and then the accountability of home visits from the social worker and social services would help her with that as well. As far as her social functioning, I think the groups that will help with that a lot. Being an inpatient and having to interact with people on that level will help a lot as far as interacting appropriately with others. And then it also will help her with realizing that she's not alone in this, in any of the things that she's experiencing, all of her grief and loss and the substance use to cope with that. She's really not alone. That would help her out with that as well. I believe also that as she becomes sober, some of these social skills will come back too, because she was functioning socially before her husband passed and everything like that too. So after we kind of uncover all the grief and loss from the substance use that's covering it up, we'll be able to really work toward those coping skills of dealing with the underlying grief, loss, and bereavement that's causing all of these other things, and then learn healthier ways to deal with that. Based on all of these assessments, those are the treatment recommendations that I have for Loretta and Janet, and hopefully we can work toward reunification and creating and maintaining a stable household environment for the two of them. Gradually, as things progress and get better, I would recommend really managing that level of care and maintaining the least restrictive care environment as possible. So as they both get better, then we can kind of withdraw services and make sure that we're not infringing on their own growth and their own progress. So that's my assessment. Thank you so much.